artificial intelligence has been shown on the market, we feel it, immediately. Our experience, this is not something which we invest. We have to react very quickly, and we deploy AI tools very soon when they show up, and we still use AI tools for developing to enhance our cybersecurity. It is in our area, it's very speed. We have to react very quickly. There is no time to develop something, and a new type of attacks, we feel AI, we feel it like totally game changer in our industry.
Yeah, great, thank you. Dr. Trajanovic.
Hello, as you can see, I'm coming from Ministry of Science, Technological Development and Innovation. But if you want me to describe what I'm doing, it's of course a long story. My PhD was of using AI in design computer controlled machine tools. And then step in that time, AI was quite different. Only production rules, the language lips, maybe some of you are remembering it, the only tools on the market for research. Now it's quite different situation, much easier to apply AI. My last 10 years, I'm using AI, especially neural networks and deep learning in reverse engineering of human bones. So now we are, thanks to the artificial intelligence, we are able to reconstruct whole bones, even we have only a part of the bones in the hand. So it is possible, and many research institutions and hospitals are using the methodology in case when your bone is disappeared because of cancer or osteoporosis or a big trauma or anything else. I think it's enough.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we're going to start with our questions. And the first question is for Boris. And generative modeling and AI, large language models. And it's going to be November 30th. We're going to have a second birthday, right, of ChatGPT. And I know you were one of the first testers, as you mentioned. And it's probably an application that took off so quickly, like 100 million users, I remember, was within a very short time. I don't think Facebook or anybody else saw anything like that. And even today, they have 3.1 billion monthly visits, ChatGPT. That's how much it's already part of our life. So the question is, how will this AI-generated content and virtual assistants change the way we communicate and build relationships in everyday's life? If you can touch on that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. I think it's a highly relevant one. I'd like to go in two directions with it. So first one is a very practical one. We can imagine simply starting off from this conversation that we are having right now. So it's easy today to, let's say, transcribe such a conversation, seeing the cameras in the back, it's clearly being recorded. And then what happens with this knowledge? Now with the main point, the main benefit I see of generative AI is not so much in coming up with new content, but it's rather transforming the existing content into a form that is more useful to different kind of people. So it's now very feasible to take, let's say, such a transcript and store it somewhere. And down the road, the AI systems can learn from it and can maybe point out to various kinds of people the relevant points that we might be making today. Or, this conversation might be part of a wider wider discussion, and we could be looking at how does this discussion change through time. What are the things that are actually new? What are the things that are maybe just repackaging of something that came before? So this is one aspect, and we see that a lot in companies, that some content that maybe an individual produced initially just for one person or maybe even for themselves, the AI can now make accessible to many. So when it comes to communication, it will happen less that we have to constantly repeat the same things to other people. There will be more focus on actually making new innovative points, since what we said before is already a matter of easily accessible record. And then the second point is, I believe that in many cases now, we will have a bit less of interaction with humans, because we might get an answer to something from an AI system. This already happens a lot. However, it's really important that we might see that AI systems will soon be able to connect us to other people, because there will be so much more of this information accessible. Now we might go on a conference such as this one, and it's up to serendipity to find people to talk to, right? Kind of just this randomness. However, I believe that soon, based on our trajectories, our public record, the AI system might actually suggest who it would be interesting to meet based on the commonalities of these paths. So, yeah, overall, for sure, I think we will find different ways with the help of AI to also meet and connect with people down the road.
Great, yes, meet friends, new business colleagues, new people that share interest with us. Let's move on with health and talking about diagnostics, right? How is AI improving it, and what are some examples of successful implementation in healthcare?
Okay, first of all, there is billions of good examples. I can present a few. All following the same structure, that we capture some kind of data and we want to predict something out of it. And that prediction is fast, and even if it's not accurate enough, it tells how accurate is it. So in practice, for instance, we had a project where we had mass spectrometer information, and if anyone saw that, that's a kind of function what we can capture in PDF format, by the way. And from that, we had to guess what kind of bacteria are in the sample. And why we did it is because there are more precise methods to define what kind of bacteria are in that. But it was in animal health, by the way, and we had to be very quick because thousands of animals can die. So we have to be very quick. So we need an answer immediately, and the accurate answer enough. So we could speed up the total process. Instead of 2 to 4 weeks of the diagnosis, we could speed it up for like one day, 1.5 days, something like that. Okay, so there is many things, but when we are talking about diagnostic, it basically means that we already have something about the patients, and what is it telling us? So I brought you another example. We done a model which is pre-screening healthcare medical health records for clinical trials. So who should fit in the clinical trials? So whoever faced in a clinical trials, it has a bunch of things what a patient should look like and what kind of disease they have, what they don't have, and so on. And in the medical health records, there is not that much information. So what we did is basically we applied an AI, and it's predicted that this patient can fit in this clinical trial, and that was popped up at the physician computers on primary care level, and based on that they had a short list, and then they could decide, yes, this patient can go on or not go on. And just imagine today still a clinical study, the pre-screening, screening phase, like depending on therapeutic area, but roughly 2-3 years. Okay, and this could be done in 3 months instead of that one. Okay, so there are many ways, and just one more example, because it was a very interesting one. It's not directly diagnosis, but we did patient segmentation, and actually, for those who are aware of the methodology behind it, it was unsupervised machine learning, and we had to segment patients, and on the segment, we wanted to predict the day or the months of death, basically, of each different segment in different indications. And the machine itself didn't come out with any revolutionary things. But what it did, in seconds, it could segment people, and in seconds, it could tell if someone shows up in the hospital that this patient belongs to this segment, and this segment, if it's treated the traditional way, then it's going to, his or her life will end probably here. And this model was like 98% accuracy. So in a way, we didn't help. In another way, we helped because it was sponsored by pharmaceuticals, and they started to lobbying that their drug is needed in this secondary prevention. But it also means that we could highlight that if these patients are treated and living like that one, that is exactly what is expected. So you have to change in a way, and there are good examples. Okay, so, and why do we do segmentation? Just one more sentence, because it's important, maybe. We checked roughly 500,000 people medical health record, and believe me, we didn't find anyone, any two, who are the same. Okay, so they're so different. Everyone is different. So therefore, we somehow, for human thinking, we have to typize, we have to personalize the patients. Oh, he is like that. Okay, so that's why we do it. So it's more readable than for on the physician level that, okay, now I have this and that. And I have 1,000 more, but because of the lack of time.
And I cannot agree more with what you just said. We are all different, and like in our models, we modeled 100 million customers, and everyone is different, behaving differently, different tendencies, affinities, but we are all easily predictable if we have enough data about ourselves. And I think those models are showing, in terms of outcomes in the hospitals, that if we have a data, if the models are trained, they can predict very well certain events. So with that, going to cybersecurity, another very interesting topic. So Dalibor, how is AI being used to detect and prevent sophisticated cyber attacks? And how does it differ from traditional cybersecurity methods?
According to machine learning object, they can proactively find some vulnerable solution, you know. When you compare with traditional antivirus software, there is a signature-based. Artificial intelligence can recognize that some software, some behavior is vulnerable. Also, it's very useful for advanced persistent threat. For zero-day attack, there is no solution, you know, for that. And artificial intelligence, according to machine learning, can recognize that some user behavior is totally unacceptable. It is malicious. Actually, in our company, we already use AI tools for incident response. There is a solution in our security operations center, which use our L1 analytics guys They are in charge to investigate all incidents, and everything is automated, you know, with this software, who is totally enhance their productivity analytics, because all this incident is very, you know, very massive. All sensors information which we have, it is quite complex to understand. Usually this technology AI in cybersecurity is still not stable. We tested several solutions and we choose the one, and it's still, you know, decision of human decision. It's not so automated. It's also predictable. He can combine contextual analytics between some users, some unusual activities, and he can predict some malicious activities as well. In this solution, AI tools can analyze real time. When you compare conventional method, which is after it's happened, it's totally reactive. In AI tools, which is extremely important, that we detect some attack during the time. And the solution which we use, which is in practice, it's still not automated. It's still developing this part. It's very useful, and we deploy it in a real situation. It's helped us too much. But when you compare with the standard solution, this is static, is signature-based, is static rules which you cannot change. With artificial intelligence, everything is automated. It's very speedy, in real time. They can analyze behavior. He can use contextual things. For example, natural language processing. They can, at the same time, research dark web, social forum. They can analyze some activities inside of your network, and he can conclude immediately. More information, they have it. They're more accurate. At the beginning, it's very hard to adopt all these sensors to feed them, and after sometimes you have to check it. Usually, this is not automated. This is a solution which also can be hacked, you know, with some poisoning information. They can send some inaccurate data. It has to be very careful. From human side, it's still AI tools. It's very useful, but we have to update, change it, adopt, and put in real production.
Just curious, how often do you update the models? Can you just...
It's daily business, you know, when we figure out that there is too much false positive, too much, you know, information which is totally unuseful, we have to adopt, you know, and during the time we decrease the number of false positive, which is totally, you know, this is our target. L1 Analytics, it's still, you know, 24/7 is human touch behind that. As at this stage, this is current software which we found. This area, it's expanding. Almost all traditional vendors embedded some AI tools inside of this product, and is still in process early phase. It's very useful for some attacks. There is a lot of useful information. We as a company, this is something which we don't develop, we must use it. This is something which is very hard for us, and you know, and AI tools is, you know, something which is already in use, especially in cybersecurity.
Of course, thank you. Now a question about AI and government responsibility and accountability. So since 2019, the government of the Republic of Serbia has been strategically preparing our country for the new industrial revolution, opportunities, and the ways of applying in life. What is government, what they can do to initiate the development and use of AI, and what will Serbia do?
I would say pretty much. Actually, we were lucky as a country because in 2016, 17, 18, we had as Prime Minister Ana Brnabić. I didn't knew in that time her, but now when I look back, I see that she was visionary who predict that IT, but also AI will be the driving force for economic development of the country. So she pushed people mainly from science to develop all necessary platforms for developing and using of AI. It was on time. Let me remind you that in 2019, we had our first strategy for AI. It was the only one in Southeast Europe. Then we implemented in very good way such strategy. Just to give some of example, actually the main aim of the strategy was to build a stage for developing and using AI solutions. So, first, education. Starting from primary school, then middle school, then faculties, and many master and bachelor programs are developed. So now we have a critical mass for further development and use, of course, of AI. But first of all, for development. It's only one. Another aim of the strategy was to develop ethical guidelines for building AI system and for use of AI system. And we did it in 2000, as far as I remember, 2021. We get our ethical guidelines. It seems not too much, but it is very, 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 very important steps, and so on. Actually, the first strategy was from 2019 till end of 2025. But you know, the AI is developing very, very, very fast. So in a way, our strategy became obsolete. So almost a year ago, we started to develop a new strategy. It is finished, and it will be. It is now in the hand of our government, and luckily, I hope that till the end of this year we will have a new strategy for AI. Unfortunately, once again, for a period of 5 years, I was against this because of very fast development of AI, but according to law, strategy has to be for 5 years. Okay. More than that, Serbia started in the June, I think, to develop its first law, AI law. It is necessary because more and more companies, especially startups, are building AI systems, and we have to have a legal basis which regulate all issue which cannot be covered by ethical rules, ethical guidelines only. I think it is pretty much. Let me just add that in this new strategy, one of the main topics was how to make such environments that we have trustworthy use of safe and trustworthy use of AI, but in the same time to have a good development, fast development of AI solution. It is kind of trade-off.
And it's a very important topic, and I think we all kind of talked about this data protection and ethical use of data for building models, and different countries and attacking that problem differently. It's different in the United States versus Europe. Europe has GDPR, very restrictive. And so in one hand, it's protective, but on the other hand, does it slow down the development and implementation of AI? It's always debate around that. Believe it or not, we have 10 minutes left. I just had the shock myself when I look at the clock. So let's go through at least one more question, each one of you. So let's speed it up a little bit. So going back, how might generative AI transform the way we consume news? And what is the risk of deepfakes and misinformation?
Yeah, so it would be very easy for me to paint all kinds of bleak, pessimistic scenarios about this. But let me try to describe briefly more of a, let's say, uplifting version of it, right? So I imagine a lot of these generative AI systems today as basically giving you as the individual an access to, let's say, an army of interns or junior employees and so on. And so the question is, what do you do then with this army? And so when it comes to news, previous digitalization paradigms have made it, that we have too much information to process. And for every piece of information, we don't have the time to fact check it. Right? We don't have the time to do research. We just consume it. Everything is competing for our attention. I think that the new AI paradigms will turn this around. So basically, that army of interns will be fact-checking all of these data sources. Also, the AI system will be much more aware of what are you actually interested in? What is the context in which you are working, from the recordings of your meetings, from the notes that you have, and so on. So basically, if there is a data source that is spewing false information, and once that is detected, the AI systems will remember, and they will discount it. So if it gets harder to convince people that something is true, which it isn't, then it also actually lowers the incentive for more misinformation to be produced. So personally, I'm not so concerned about the deepfakes as well, because we already know in the past we were able to create content that was fake. And whenever something like this happens, humans adapt. So we know from before that if we see an image somewhere on the web, possibly it was edited with Photoshop. And so the same will happen with these systems. I mean, obviously, there will be videos and avatars trying to convince you something, but we will learn to check the source. Or rather, our AI assistants will learn to check the source for us if we don't want to bother ourselves.
Yeah, we're getting better together with AI. Benson, what role does it play in preventive healthcare? And can some diseases then be prevented by using poor prediction?
I think today is the quickest, the low-hanging fruit in healthcare is prevention. The secondary prevention, I think, is the lowest hanging fruit. The primary is the second one, because it's already existing. We know what's going to happen. It can be predicted pretty easily. I mean, easily, so it can be done. So anything, there is many part of it, like contraindications and side effects and compliance, adherence as all together. So there is a bunch of use cases behind it, but to prevent people end up in the hospital earlier than they're supposed to, or we could prevent it, I think that's something what can save a lot of money in a short term. Okay, so if we could implement in a country like that, then the hospitalization would reduce with 30% in a few months, basically. Obviously, it needs to be a top system, needs to be, people needs to learn what is this kind of machine is saying me that I am in a risk and I should do this and that and so on. So there is a lot of things, but this is, I think, the quickest and huge area to invest in.
Yeah, impacting quality of life and monetization of AI right there. What, from cybersecurity standpoint, what are the biggest challenges now in training AI models? And especially given the constantly evolving nature, as you said, in cyber threats, I mean, it's catching up the game. So how do we train those models?
Yes, so those models trained, there is a lot of experience from when we deploy that. Actually, you have to feed AI tools from appropriate source. For example, you have to put sensors everywhere in the network that you have real information. Actually, in cybersecurity, this is XDR tool, CM tool, firewall, secure web gateway. Even you have to have it threat intelligence subscription that you feed this artificial intelligence on appropriate way with appropriate information. Accuracy of this depends from that. Actually, when you prepare during the attack, all this information is thousands, billions information. You have to be worried about the storage capacity of link processor power, which is correlated in the case that boost when it's attack, that you don't lose that information. Also, human at the top, as we discuss it, is still in real situation when incidents is happening. You have to include final decision with the people inside of it. Also, what is important, privacy policy solution that you deploy in appropriate way. With AI tools, you are not able to manipulate with personal data as well. This is the first way that you deploy actually some regulation from the beginning. For example, GDPR, you have to inform your clients and end user customers that it's approved by themselves that they will use personal data for cybersecurity AI analytics. That's the way. And actually, the things, personal information from our side, it's that we encrypt them appropriate way, that we anonymize that data, that we hidden from a real attack. But some user activities have to analyze by AI tools, but they don't have to use against privacy and policy for that. I will just, this is in short because lack of time.
Yeah.
Yes, dark side, deepfake, it's not only tools, in our area we have generated a malware solution which can generate it in a second thousands, it's very hard situation. It's deep AI tools for phishing. It's generated accuracy is totally impossible to detect deep fake. There is a lot of tools. They are automated scanning the networks. Find some, unpatched solution. They are prepared, automated some attacks. It's very hard situation. There is no time. There is a lot of things. And it's not just deep fakes. Yes,
I know. We are running out of time, and we have so many interesting questions. We have a couple of minutes for the last one. 3 years ago, the AI Institute was launched. What are the key projects that you see as success today in Serbia?
Yes, 3 years is one click of time, but they collect 60 researchers. 50% out of them are coming from abroad, which is very interesting because they have excellent projects, mostly international, even they are working for national projects. Let me just underline 2 projects. One, they are using cutting-edge AI tools to design pharmaceutical compounds for pills, you know. And they are very, very successful. They have many customers, big pharmaceutical companies from USA and Japan. This is because they develop excellent method to shorten the time for developing a new medical pills. Then, at the moment, they are just launched a new application, which is one of the national one. You know that we have a many big % of breast cancer in Serbia. So we have many mammographs now all over the Serbia, and they develop only for 3 months, excellent system which is assistant for radiologists, and it warned them that this is for sure cancer, but they will check again, you know. But the whole process is very fast now, you know, and there is no negative, positive. So it is zero in front of me.
For all of us.
Okay, thank you.
This just points it is very important and relevant conversation, and I thank you very much to each one of you for joining us today. Hope you got some information, got inspired, some thought-provoking, and maybe we see soon or next time. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.